Hey you, it's me. I am out in the woods and I wanted to talk to you instead of talking at you. Well, I am wondering how you're doing. I am wondering how much farther down the rabbit hole you've gone, or if you've pulled yourself out and recovered, and are thinking better and thinking more straight. I'm wondering if you're running scared of whatever's out there, whoever those people are. Or I wonder if you're doing okay, because I haven't spoken to you in quite some time now, 4 or 5 months. So I want you to know, I never spoke about this, but the last time you and I had sex, or I attempted to, or whatever it was, I was very high. It doesn't excuse things, but I was angry, and that doesn't excuse anything either. But something? I want you to answer this question, please, for yourself. I understand we have differences, and I know that. I understand that we have differences, and I know that. But the question that I have for you is simple. Do you miss me? Do you miss talking to me? Do you miss hearing stories from me? Do you miss, just us talking? And I wonder about that in relation to you. How do you feel about me? Or have you moved on? And I wonder about that too. See, this is the reason why I didn't want to be friends with you. Because I'm extremely jealous and possessive and all of these things. And I know that. And for me to sit by and hear stories about you and some guy or something like that would just totally kill me. Okay? And, I know I'm not supposed to say these things, but I still like you. I still enjoy talking to you, and I still have fun with you. But unfortunately, in these last couple years, you seem to have really gone off on a really bad tangent. And it isn't just you. A lot of Christian people, especially all the organized religion people I've looked out there, have really gone off on a tangent. And I understand why. But unfortunately, they're letting fear guide their choices, and then they end up with the devil, and then they wonder why things are even 10 times more confusing. So, and no, he isn't the devil, but yeah, he has a good laundry list. And no, I'm not talking about politics because that inflames things. But my main concern is you. Just talking to you, just saying hi. Because I can tell you, you've really thrown me. Really thrown me. I've known you all these years, and all of your beliefs and all the things you've laid on to me and all the things that you expect from yourself and the high standards and everything. Even walking out on a minister that you felt like was messed up. How can you be so blind? And I only can deduce that it's because it's the media, because a lot of very extreme right-wing corporations have bought up a lot of media. So they're feeding you a certain kind of reality. And I can tell that because I've been spending time in Idaho, and I've been listening to the local news here versus the national news, the right side and then the left side. And I can see that they are saying totally different perspectives. So when I say this, I am certainly in no shape or way attacking you. I'm just making a comment. Because by me going to different states and looking at the media that they look at, you would be extremely surprised on how people view things. Anyways, that's a side tangent. I'm just seeing how you're doing, going blah, 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 saying hi, talking your ear off, missing you, and hoping you're missing me. And I mean that genuinely. You see, I've always maintained something, and I know you've heard this before. You know, those videos that you've been sharing with me with the woman and the guy, I've been watching them still. Ramani and the other fellow. And it has helped me to dismantle the things and behaviors, to first become aware of all of these things in myself. Because one, I never wanted to be this way, ever. And what I realize and recognize is I was this way, and I had to be this way when I grew up. And you see, the thing is with you, what I recognize is shortly thereafter, after your mom passed, your grandmother passed, you were grown up from that point on. You were an adult. And you were forced into adult situations. You've never been a kid. And I know you think that you have fun, but you don't. You have layers of control, layers of fear, layers of should and could and would, and they're all in general okay and good for you. But sometimes I believe it leaves you with blind spots, big ones. Okay? The reason why I talk to you is I provide a mirror for you, just as you provided a mirror for me. And even though you told me things that I didn't like and took me years to understand and see through, to see in myself that I absolutely hated, but I knew that were true, deep down I knew that that's what I needed to do and work on. Okay? And I'm hoping in the same vein and way that some of the things that I talk to you about probably rub you the wrong way, and I know this. But deep down, something has to tell you something isn't right here. Okay? And I honestly don't know what world you're exposing yourself to now. I don't know if you're in Europe, I don't know if you're on the North Pole, whatever. And yes, that's a little bit of bitterness and a little bit of resentment. Because basically, yeah, everything that I told you about, I am correct. Everybody thinks I'm too old to go out with. They have that instant ageism bias. And I see that time and time again. And trust me, many women have come up to me to speak to me. And then they talk to me. And then they do a double look and they go, wait a minute, how old are you? And they're in their mid-30s, young 30s, late 20s, depending. And by the way, they all think I'm 35 to 37. And that's what the age that they put me on. Because I just say, well, how old do you think I am? So anyways, I've had that experience, so that's been fun. So it pretty much confirms the things that I had thought about. It's like, well, yeah, I just fucked away 20 years of my life. And now I'm too old for anybody to consider even to be with because of all the things society has told them. So they preclude any conversations or anything. A lot of shoulds and that you shouldn't and oh my gods and things like that. So that's been my experience, which hasn't been fun. But I kind of thought it was going to be that way. And I figured that much. But most of these people are kind of whores anyway, so, it's not that big of a loss. So, there's that. Ooh, mosquito. Sorry. That's me killing a mosquito out here. I'm out in the woods and there's some mosquitoes. So anyways, I've been missing you and just called to say hi and say the same old, same old. Actually, I've been doing decently. I've been doing okay. I want you to understand something. You know the things that you and I have done. I want you to think about something. You say that you think that you knew sin. Well, my argument to you had always been, it's like, yeah, you say that, but no, you really haven't been exposed to those things. Not really. And unfortunately, my experience with you has given you a taste or a sampling of what sin is, how all-consuming it is, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And that stuff struck me at such an early age. It really made that deep imprint on me. Okay. That's why it had stuck with me so long. That's why I went to such extremes to let go of it and get rid of it out of my system. More extreme than most people ever would. And I understand that you don't understand that. And on the same token, I also understand that you don't understand the sin that I had been exposed to, that unfortunately that I exercised. You see. And this is the thing that I know, hey, I don't want to be that way. I'd like to keep the hotness and the pleasure and all of that, but not the sin aspect of it, And I feel that it'd be very easy to regulate that within a relationship. Be very easy to keep that in a container between two people, excluding everybody. The trick to that one is the two people, of course, have to be in real proximity to each other, because there is no substitute for a real human being. But in order for that to happen, a person has to come to harmony within themselves and balance and peace and be in a good place. And I wonder if you're there, or if you're still afraid of things. And if you're afraid of things, why? If God is on your side, what is there to be afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of. You see, love, you have to grow within yourself. And there's levels of ways of doing things, and you and I are so close on so many things. You know that? So many things. And if we only could have open, honest conversations, like a new level of honesty, a new level of trust. It's quite possible to do, because I do still love you. And that has never stopped. And I know I'm not supposed to say these things. So I'm not. Because I know quite equally at the same time, my even mentioning something like that totally puts any kibosh on meeting or thinking about meeting or talking even. Because who knows how you think I think now. I'm just working on a better form of me. And I know it's working because I can tell and I feel it. So I'm very, very happy with that. And frankly, not dealing with the drama of you and I in perpetual never going out, always perpetually bringing me some form of pain because something's missing in my life actively. See, I'm not missing you because you're not there to be here, if that makes sense. Remember how I described the cake in the window, that you're like that cake that I can never, be with? Well, now the town is burnt down, the store is burnt down, and bulldozers have come over and basically razed the entire place to the ground. And so now I don't miss the cake anymore because there's nothing there. And so that missing isn't there. So I just moved to being back to a wholeness within myself, using my experience with you to understand all the issues and places that I've gone wrong so I can heal and fix them within myself and face them, because those are the cornerstones. And I'm just hoping that you do the same. And honestly, you should ask yourself, why am I the boogeyman? How is it that you lived our entire relationship without ever spending like a day in it? Why do you do that? Oh, it's going to be this way. Oh, it's going to be that way. Versus actual, real reality. All that does is form a large extrapolation for your imagination. Your imagination plus fear creates an entire world. And you know this, and so do I. And only you can step out of your fear. And you have a bad fear, and it's been with you for a long time. You see, love, that's why I try to talk to you. My special ability, if I had nothing else to share with you, would be able to teach you, show you, example, how not to be afraid. And I truly mean that. So, and I say that again in love. And no, I'm not love bombing or exploding or doing any of that stuff. I'm just talking to you. Because I miss talking to you. I miss telling you stories. I miss laughing with you. But you, my dear girl, have to grow. And I just hope you don't run off into some pud knocker's arms, especially Michael, because we both know that's just been laying in wait for all these years. And it's getting closer now since your sister married to the younger brother, right? That obvious issue is just like right there. And now you have all three of those people just staring at you going, well, what are you waiting for? Isn't it obvious? And the same guy that you never really liked but would tolerate is there. Perhaps there's a reason that you gravitated towards me. Perhaps I have something that Michael does not. Perhaps you're still missing that same something that you've always been missing. And it revolves around getting rid of fear, or maybe harnessing bravery. I don't know. Anyways, I've gone off on weird tangents and blah blah dee blah 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 and stuff and things. You see, I know we have a lot of differences, but we also have a lot of similarities. And no, we're not matched. But one thing we are is complementary to each other. I make you a better version of you, and you make me a better version of me. And conversely, we can both make each other worse versions of each other. And unfortunately, I believe we've experienced that quite a lot with each other. So I hope you can forgive me on these things. Perhaps you get an idea of the sin that I had dealt with for a good portion of my life and why it had been such a plague for me. And I hope you're doing better and not taking any wooden nickels or going down any paths or engaging in any group think. Group think is essentially where 2 or more or 3 or more people all get together and form some sort of conformity about something. You see, the thing is when people come together other than a marriage and they do some sort of a group think, often they get things wrong. And you know why? Because each person is sacrificing a piece of their authenticity to conform to the group. So essentially, you lose part of your soul for conforming and going along with this crowd. Okay? I just hope that's not what's going on with you. I hope you're just like hanging out, doing garden stuff, things like that. You see, love, you just don't have to be afraid. And you certainly don't have to be afraid with me. You really don't. So anyways, have a good day, okay? And no, this isn't a bid to talk to you or try to get you to call me. It's just me feeling a little lonely and talking and sharing with you. Bending your ear, saying all the things that you are certain that, this is the reason why I'm not going out with this guy. Reinforce all of that thinking for you, right? Because I always seem to put my foot in my mouth, don't I? I don't think I did it too bad, except maybe describing the media landscape. Seems to me most of these Christian right-wing people, quite a lot of them are Old Testament folk. Because none of this is New Testament. If you notice that. Pay close attention to that. Because when people are angry and want to go to war and they're Christian, they really quick to pull out the Old Testament stuff. And then they get people fired up to go to war. Versus New Testament, which is Christ. Big difference. Watch out for that, okay? Because it's in your world. It's not in mine. I'm in my own little Noah's Ark right now, protecting myself from all the media and all the stupid and all the people who watch all the stupid media. And that's where I am in my happy little bubble, actively keeping away from it all. And I hope you're doing the same. I truly do. Yeah, I always thought about like meeting you and spending like a week with you, perhaps two. Maybe you can get out of your safety net and meet me, and we put away the telephones, don't know what's going on in the world, and just you and I connect again. Have an old school Monopoly board, have an old school chess board, old school checkers board, cards, maybe even an old school Monopoly board, or some other few board games. But anyways, low tech. Something like that. I still hold out for that, love. But in order for that to be able to even happen, you have to be brave. And you have to be brave enough on your own to actually be able to say, I'm going to give this a try and see if this bozo's really saying what he's been doing, what he's saying, or if he's just full of it. You have to be brave enough to meet me and know that I've been doing the work, or just be brave enough to meet me to see if it's true or not true, and not a figment of your imagination or measured by a completely unfair measure of a drinking straw and a telephone. All of those things are so completely unfair. And you can look at things and arrange things, blah, blah, blah. And all these spot checks, and they don't hold water. And they don't give you an accurate picture. A week with me would. 2 weeks. And you would see, and we would see, because I'd have to evaluate you. Because you may have gone completely bizarro land into Lord knows what. Okay? It is the height of vanity for people to say, well, the end of the world's coming near, and I know it's happening. No, I think a lot of people are really bored with their lives and they want it to happen. But they're trying to call it into play as much as they can. Kind of vanity, because it's kind of like them taking the mantle of God. Not exactly the right thing. We're supposed to be doing the good stuff, not trying to conspire to bring around the end of the world. You know what I mean? Sort of antithetical. God is life, not death. Life. There's a huge difference for that. Life and love. I had to pause that for a minute. An airplane was taking off. It was quite loud. Life and love. You see, love, everybody's consciousness has to raise up a little bit. And they have to come to consciousness about all the things that they don't like in themselves. Okay? Anyways, I've done enough damage for today. And I know you've reinvigorated and hating me, and probably added another 10 years onto my timeline of not talking to me already. So it's probably like 120 years by now. So, I will talk to you soon. Probably not. I'll talk to you later. Bye.